right, Lindsey. What I really want to know is, like, when did you really start to think about a comeback?
I started to think about it only a few weeks after my surgery because it was such a big difference from before surgery to after surgery. I mean, it obviously took a few days for everything to calm down, but then I had no pain and I had no swelling, and the rehab moved really quickly. I was already e-foiling at like 6 weeks. So I just kind of kept taking it step by step, but with the thought that, you know, if it feels this good, you know, how much can I do? Can I do other sports? Can I ski? And to what level can I ski? So I don't know, it was pretty soon after surgery that my mind started to go in that direction.
So like before that surgery, like did you think also about it when your knee is like good again to think about a comeback?
No, I mean, of course, when I did Kitzbühel, I had so much fun, and it was such a challenging hill, and my knee was toast. I mean, it hurt so bad to do that, but I still had so much fun skiing that, I don't know, the passion for me for skiing has always been there. I've never thought, oh, I'm glad I'm not skiing anymore. I always love skiing. That will never change no matter how old I get. But I never thought I could get back to this level. You know, it's one thing to say, oh, I wish I could ski downhill, but it's another thing to actually be back on the World Cup. It's not an easy situation.
It's totally, different for sure. Like also the comebacks of Marcel and Lucas, did it impact you as well on your like process you were going through in your mind?
I mean, I talked to Marcel a lot, and I knew Lucas would come back. That was, for me, never a question. Everyone knew that, right? You know, he's so young and so talented. I knew for sure he was coming back. But yeah, Marcel and I talked a lot, and you know, he loves skiing just as much as I do. And I talked to Axel, and you know, I think all of us that have been retired understand, you know, how much we love the sport. I think when you take time away, you also can reflect and have a different perspective. So it was nice to talk to Marcel and those guys about it. But when he, you know, started talking about the wild card, I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. You know, that would change the dynamics of coming back, because if you have to start from nothing, it's very hard. You know, if I were starting 60 or 70 in a World Cup, that would be a lot different than 30.
Absolutely. I mean, it's totally a different story, and it's a perfect situation. For sure. I mean, you wrote it yesterday also on Instagram already, like your motivation, but I think it would be really nice to hear it like once again from you, like the motivation behind that comeback, and maybe also your goals in that journey you will take now.
I mean, my motivation is really easy. I just love skiing. You know, I'm happy to be able to ski now with no pain. It's been many, many years now that I have been able to ski without pain. And, you know, I think back to the last few years of my career and how hard it was for me. And I of course, talk about my injuries, but it was hard, you know, it was not easy. And I want to experience ski racing again with a healthy body, you know, to really enjoy it and not always think about my body and how broken it is. You know, I feel like I'm in my early 20s and it feels great. It's like a whole new world for me. And my goals, I'm trying to take it step by step. You know, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. I know that it's going to take a little time to get back into it. I know that I'm skiing well, but you know, racing, I haven't raced in almost 6 years, so it's going to take a second. But I think I can get back to a similar level to what I was before.
Yeah. I saw you skiing in Beaver Creek already, like the downhill, and it looked really good. I mean, it's not an easy downhill there. So yeah, it looked really, really nice. So I guess it will go probably pretty fast, or it can go fast. Is it like, what do you think about the disciplines? Like downhill and super-G, do you think they're equal for you already now? Or do you feel like one is already, might be a little bit better?
It's funny, you know, in training, I was always doing better in super-G because I had maybe 2 or 3 more days of training. And I felt like I had figured out my skis a little bit better in SuperG, but in Beaver Creek, my downhill I felt like was a little bit better. I think in speed, it always ebbs and flows, you know, depending on the course and depending on the hill. I feel like I'm pretty strong in both. I think the thing that I like the most about my skiing is just that I'm very balanced. You know, I'm very stable. I'm not compensating on my weak side. You know, I'm very solid, and I haven't skied like that in a very long time. So I think when you have a good base, you can do a lot with it. So I have the fundamentals, and now I can progress.
Absolutely. How is it now, like from your knees? Do you feel a difference from your knees also, like for your normal life or skiing wise? Is it like the same than before, or?
Yeah, I don't think about it.
Yeah.
It's like night and day.
Yeah.
Before surgery, I thought about my knee almost every single day for a majority of the day. It was always hurting, and you know, I would go on a walk with my friend's 7-year-old, and you know, Aunt Lynn's has to take a break after 10 minutes because my knee hurts. You know, it wasn't easy, and I thought, you know, after my skiing career it would get better, but it really didn't. And so I've had multiple surgeries since retiring, but even before the replacement. And now I don't think about it. I don't think about when I wake up in the morning. I don't think about it when I'm skiing. I don't think about it when I'm in the weight room. Like it is like I am brand new again, and it's such an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I can imagine that. When you think about like skiing in general, I mean, there's always a risk, a certain risk, especially when you do the speed disciplines, maybe a little bit more. Is it like in your head now that with the knee replacement or everything, or is it?
No.
You feel like it's the same risk like you had before in your, like I'd say, first career or first part of your career?
I mean, anytime you're skiing downhill, or honestly any alpine events, you always take a risk. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who you are, anything can happen, and that's the risk that we all take, and that's part of I think the thrill of downhill is that it's dangerous. You know, you have to be willing to risk everything in order to succeed, and it's always been the case. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't be doing downhill if I wasn't willing to take the risk, and things haven't changed now that I've had a knee replacement. My doctors have cleared me, you know, they're very confident in what I'm doing. I wouldn't be doing it if it was like a reckless, you know, idea. You know, I think a lot of people have a lot of wild ideas about how crazy it is that what I'm doing, but I'm not a dumb person. I've talked to the best doctors in the world, and they've cleared me to do this, so it's not a bigger risk. I'm sure I'm going to have another knee replacement at some point in the future because I'm only 40 years old, but that would happen whether I skied or didn't ski. So to me, it's the same. Yeah.
When someone knows downhill skiing better than you, or like you're the one who knows this sport the best, you know. So
I think that's something that bothers me, is that people think that I'm taking more risk than anyone else, but I know downhill probably better than almost anyone out there.
Anyone else, absolutely.
So, I mean, you know, there's 18-year-olds out there skiing downhill who probably have never run a World Cup downhill. I'm definitely a lot safer than those people. And I also feel like I have a lot of knowledge that I want to share, you know, with my teammates. And honestly, I've always said anyone that wants help or has a question, I'm always open. I mean, you know, Sophia asked me for a course report, and I gave it to her, you know, in Beaver Creek. I'm always open to sharing, and I want to share, you know, my knowledge, because downhill is a sport where the more knowledge you have, the better you can be, and I want to help others succeed as well.
Is there something like let's say mistake or something you did in your first part of your career that you will not repeat now in the next part of your journey? Like you just mentioned before that now when you take a break, and I can totally relate to that, because when you take a break and when you step out from ski racing, you see everything with a totally different view. It's the best job in the world. Everyone is doing everything for you that you can perform. Yeah. So I also experienced like that you see some things differently.
I definitely see things from, I think, a fresh perspective. I've always known, because I've been injured so many times, how lucky I am to do what I love to do every day. But I feel like I have a renewed energy, you know, I'm fresh and I'm excited, and you know, sometimes being on the road for so long can be really hard, and I've been at home for the last 6 years, so you know, I feel like I'm young and excited, and it's like the first time I've been on the World Cup. I think the only thing that I would hope to do better this time around is just to be a little bit more patient. You know, I'm not a patient person. I love competing. I love pushing myself. And I'm trying to make sure I take it step by step. You know, I'm trying to lower my expectations, which is really, really hard for me to do. But I think that's the smart thing to do. You know, just ease my way back into it and take it step by step and not expect myself to win the first race.
Yeah. So I guess also like in this like running season, you're not thinking too much about the world champs, about maybe reaching the final in Sun Valley. Is it already like, for sure? I mean, it's there. It's topics. Is it still thoughts in your head?
Yeah. I mean, I always have goals. You know me. I'm very goal oriented. I'm driven to succeed, and there are things that I of course want to do. I mean, World Cup finals in Sun Valley would be amazing. World Championships, I don't know. I didn't really think about it until recently. And honestly, I think Beaver Creek changed a lot in the way I'm thinking about the season, because it went so much better than I expected. You know, I expected myself to have some trouble. Not a lot of trouble, but you know, it's a really hard course, and I haven't skied. I've skied Copper Mountain, which is really not a challenging hill, you know, from a World Cup perspective. So it went a lot better than I expected. So I'm adjusting my thinking. I want to see how this weekend goes, but I would say World Championships are definitely something that I'm thinking about.
Especially in Austria. I mean, it's always special.
I love racing in Austria. They always put on such a great show.
Yeah. So maybe we continue with the US part a little bit. I mean, for sure, Michaela was achieving so many great things over the last couple of years. Was it also a little bit of extra motivation for you, or was it like totally separate from your path now? No,
I'm just really excited for Michaela and what she's been able to achieve. I think it's so great for sports and for women's sports, and it's been really fun to watch as a spectator. I feel like it's, you know, it's just a separate thing. You know, for me, I'm not here to prove anything to anyone. I'm really happy with what I achieved in my career. I'm the number 2, you know, most successful women's skier of all time. That's perfectly fine with me. And you know, of course, I hope to do well, but I'm not comparing myself to her, and I'm really happy for her, and I'm supporting her as a teammate. But I think my goals are totally different.
Actually, what is the secret behind the US girls, or like women in this case, being so great? I mean, you achieved both so many crazy things in your career. Is there a special secret?
I don't know. I don't think so. We had totally different paths to get to where we are, and from, you know, the way we grew up, and, you know, I was speed and she was more tech, but we both did all 5 disciplines. I don't know. I think most Americans are pretty free-spirited, and, you know, like Julia Mancuso and Bodie and Ted, like, I think we all have this rebel mentality. I think Michaela is a little bit more maybe focused than we all were, and that's why she's been able to achieve, you know, what she's been able to achieve. But I don't know. I think as Americans, we just want to be successful, and she's definitely done that.
Yeah, and I think it's always like the motto a little bit, nothing is impossible. Also what you just said, or what you wrote the last couple of times on Instagram. So, and I think this mindset helps you a lot with that.
Yeah, I don't think we think about limitations or what's been done before. At least that's not the way I think about things. Yeah. I know, again, like a lot of people think my whole career that I'm a little bit crazy, but it's just because no one's done it before. It doesn't mean that it's a crazy concept. Yeah. And so I just kind of follow my own path. You know, I believe in myself and my abilities, and I'm different. I'm myself, and you're yourself, and, you know, I'm happy about that. I'm unique, and that's what makes me who I am. And I don't want to change that for anyone and for anything. And sometimes I feel like I have to defend it. But I think this journey is really important to me, just to do it for myself.
Yeah. I think this is so important what you just said to everyone out there. You know, everyone has their dreams and they should chase them and not think about the critics or whatever were around. So yeah,
I mean, if I listened to critics, I would probably never have been a ski racer, because I've been told my whole career that I'm never going to be anything. So.
Yeah, you guessed pretty much
wrong.
Yeah, you proved them wrong, absolutely. One question about Cortina. I mean, you really like the slope. I remember so many races there, and you loved it there. Like, is it, for sure we know the Olympics coming up there, is it something in the back of your head also?
I mean, if I can make it there, it would be amazing. I can't tell you that it's not something that's on my mind. You know, when I retired, I think that was the one thing that really bothered me, was that I wouldn't be able to compete in Cortina. It's just a very special place for me. You know, I had my first podium there. I broke the record there. It's kind of like Lake Louise, where I just feel very at home. And if I have the opportunity to race in the Olympics there, I definitely will.
All right, sounds good. I remember one time we flew up together to Åre, and it was your last races, actually, World Champs. Yeah. When you compare the feelings you had on this plane, like when we flew up there, I mean, for sure we talked a lot, but now, compared to now, what do you feel now? What's the difference you feel?
I think I feel that there's a lot less weight on my shoulders. I'm not trying to break any records. I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone. I'm just skiing because I love skiing, and that's the most important thing to me, which makes me feel, again, a lot more free. You know, I'm happy. I think everyone can see I'm smiling out on the mountain, and, you know, just being in Beaver Creek and being with my family and, you know, everyone in the finish area, it was just so much fun. And that's how it's always been for me. But I think over the years, you know, with injury and expectation, it somehow becomes less free. You know, you have more constraints and more obligations, and now, you know, I'm very much just doing this because I love skiing, and that's different. That's a different feeling and a different mindset.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Lindsey, for your time, and I wish you all the best for the first races, and have fun out there.
I will. Thank you.
Is there one, like, we have 10 short questions, like just a short answer. Is it possible for you time-wise to still do that, or is it like it's 10 to 7?
Okay.
Let me just if it's possible. It's like 10 questions, just short answer.
I should be okay.
Should be okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. How did you start skiing?
My dad got me into skiing when I was 2.5.
Who was your first hero?
Peekaboo Street.
Do you like to travel, and where do you prefer to go?
I love to travel. I actually prefer to go to the beach.
I can relate to that.
Because I never get to go to the beach, so that's probably why I live in Miami.
All right. Is there a place where you would like to compete?
I would love to compete in Cortina.
Perfect answer. Anything you miss from home?
My dogs.
Name the 3 most fierce opponents in your discipline.
Goja, Goot, and I'm going to say Suter.
Okay.
She's coming back.
All right. What do you still need to improve?
That's a long answer.
Okay.
A lot of things, but I think mainly my equipment. I just need to fine-tune everything.
Your next goal in sport?
I don't have any definitive goals. My only goal right now is to have fun.
And in your private life?
It's very private.
Okay, we keep it private, for sure. Your biggest fear?
Bugs, insects, they're gross. Yeah.
They're not good.
No.
Your perfect run so far?
I don't really believe in perfect runs. I think if you're perfect, you're not fast. But I think one of my best runs was probably in Vancouver in the Olympics in downhill.
Downhill, yeah. I was not racing there. The run you dream of?
I mean, Cortina.
Thank you.